Hello, how are you all doing? I'm going to get straight into it. This is part 2, and basically how I stopped smoking, my experiences of nicotine replacement withdrawal, you know, the whole kit and caboodle. That's my little dog walking about. And I will be reading from this again in the form of a bit of a essay because to be honest, it's easier and it's more factual and it's more honest. So, okay, well, I've said welcome back, and I hope you enjoyed listening to my story time about the how, why and when I stopped smoking. This time, as I've said, I'm going to follow the same format, have a chat, tell the story of what I did to give up smoking. I will likely touch upon services and help out there, but you know, this is more of a personal story rather than an advice plan for quitting smoking. You know, I'm not a professional, and you know, I would say an awful lot has changed since I gave up. So he's come sit with me. Got a little doggy down there. Okay, so giving up smoking, how did I do it? Honestly, with sheer determination and a desire not to fail. As you saw in part 1, you know, that was very much a background and partly how I gave up. I think, you know, here I'm trying to say I've tried several times in my life to stop, but I'd always reverted being best mates again with nicotine. Now, I do talk about this in part 1 of my Storytime smoking journey, so take a look if that helps you in any way. At the point in my life where I felt adamant that I wasn't going to smoke anymore, I did some research and knew I needed a plan. I think what proved successful for me this time, I knew I was definitely going to have a route and a course of action to follow. It's a bit like, you know, well, you don't just go and buy a load of shopping and then not have anything to carry it in, do you? So I definitely recommend a plan. Excuse me. Oh dear, my dust allergy today. I do apologise, sorry. Anyway, okay, so I also think it's important to take some time out to reflect and think about, why do you actually want to stop smoking? And do you really want to stop smoking? You know, are you being asked to stop smoking, or are you even being pressured to stop smoking? You know, I feel it's very important that stopping the smoking is what you want. You need to want it, if that makes any sense. I mean, would you sit, basically, and spend the afternoon doing maths equations if you hated maths? Probably not. Maybe make a list of all of the positives in giving up. Well, I think we all know the health risks and that it's expensive, but make the plan for you. Make it literally gold for yourself. But above all else, please make it realistic. There's no point setting a date to stop smoking if it's a day that you know is going to be filled with stress, you know, like a moving day, or worrying about a big bill that's due to be paid, or doing something that is going to cause you stress. You've already set yourself up to fail. I'd like to add that there can always be a reason or an excuse to put off stopping smoking. But sometimes in life, you know, you just have to do it. You're stronger than you think you are. But please, I must stress, keep it realistic and achievable. Now, personally, this was me, you know, I'd suggest that even if your quit date is several weeks on from the point you decided to give up smoking, that's far better than just jumping in and then being disappointed if you fail. I know that some of what I've said, you know, it sounds like easy advice, but, you know, having a course of action, stop dates and reasons to stop smoking, it can be so helpful and important to help you succeed. I speak from experience, but you know, I'm certainly no expert, but it did help me stop, and I'd like to add, most importantly, it's helped me stay as a non-smoker, and that's the goal, isn't it? So anyway, look, I made an appointment with the doctor, which I've touched upon in part 1, but you know, the pharmacy is often a good choice as well. At the doctor's, anything from tablets to stop smoking courses were discussed, you know, back then. I know these days it's far harder to get an appointment. Well, anyway, I couldn't have the tablets to help with stopping smoking because of my other health problems. But it might be, you know, worth checking when you do get that appointment what your options are and if you're eligible to have treatments, because at the time I couldn't. Well, anyway, again, mentioned in part 1, we decided upon a, you know, stop smoking course, you know, with nicotine replacement therapy that was in the form of a spray. I also used an A4 sheet of paper, days of the week on it, how many cigarettes I smoked and how many I felt realistically I was going to reduce by each week on it. You know, I opted to go weekly because I did think that would be more achievable. I suppose you could think of it, you know, as that tick box. We called it giving up the fags, giving up the fags. And she even designed it on the computer for me, and if you can't do that you might know someone that can, or at the end of the day you can get a bit of A4 paper, get a ruler and make it yourself, you know, if you're not too good at the old technology. But I found it really helpful and it gave me an idea of what I was smoking and what I wanted to reduce it by realistically. So getting back to the stop smoking group, well, I got there. I had to answer a load of questions and see what my aims and objectives of doing the course were, you know, and every time I went there I had this big sense of achievement, that the machine I breathed into measured my carbon dioxide, oh sorry, carbon monoxide, not dioxide, and when it registered 0, I was just so chuffed. And you know, it felt great, and I'd always reward myself with a cup of coffee. Lovely. Anyway, just as a little mention, I did go for the one-on-one help. I don't know if that is available anymore, but I did it purely because I'm autistic and, well, I don't do well in groups, so it wouldn't be no good otherwise for me. Well, I continued with the course until it ended. I'm sure things have all changed these days, but I did find it beneficial, you know. And you can always go online, see what's out there. The NHS smoke-free helpline is available Monday to Friday at the time of this video from 9 AM till 8 PM, and also Saturday to Sunday from 11 AM to 4 PM. But, you know, do please check those details because you could be watching this video at a completely different time. And also, you know, you find if you go online or you ask around or you go to the library, anything, you can find out what's going on and what's available to do with smoking and stopping smoking and, you know, all the different support. So I will say that, you know, as mentioned, I did find the course helpful and, you know, I did get some support, and but the one thing that I relied on the most was my nicotine replacement therapy, which I hadn't. Sometimes called NRT. There are tons of options these days, from sprays, patches, lozenges, chewing gum, tablets, e-cigarettes, and goodness knows, there's probably some other bits out there as well that I don't even know about. Well, for me, I used the nicotine spray, and then I transferred to nicotine lozenges. Oh, gosh, we didn't started it. Having the support of nicotine replacement therapy was great in the beginning, and it certainly helped me to stop wanting to smoke. But little did I know I'd become an addict to that. Well, after I'd finally managed to quit smoking, there I was, addicted to it. All my hard work and my determination, I was a non-smoker, but now there I was, yet addicted to NRT, nicotine replacement therapy. I'll probably just call it NRT from now on. Well, it's not a good thing to say addict, is it? You don't like saying the word addict. You know, it conjures up all sorts of ideas associated with illegal drugs. And yet here I was, able to walk into any supermarket and buy it. Anywhere I could buy NRT. I could just, there was no guidance with it, no assistance, no question being raised about the actual purchase and how highly addictive it was without me even realising. I do think it would be fair to say that NRT is a wonderful form of support in giving up smoking if it's used correctly. but that's all it is supposed to be, a support, not a new habit to replace another one. The thing is, and this is the important bit, I didn't know I'd become addicted to it until I tried to stop using it. I transferred from using the nicotine spray to the lozenges, as I say, but I think that, looking back, that was probably now the worst thing that I could have done. The problem was you just don't know that at the time. You're so chuffed at not smoking and finally doing it that from a personal perspective, I didn't know I'd become addicted to this NRT. I didn't know. So anyway, you know, I started off having a few lozenges each day, but I found myself needing more and more on a daily basis. I tried to justify it, you know, I don't smoke, that's reassuring. And I even attempted to give them up like I'd done with smoking, but I didn't succeed. The reason that I didn't succeed was due to the withdrawal I'd experienced. You know, every time I tried to stop, I felt rough. Therefore, I found myself needing a new plan to stop the NRT replacement withdrawal. You know, it actually felt like I was back at square one. You know, I mean, I wasn't, of course, but that's what it felt like. So anyway, how did I manage to stop taking this NRT therapy? Well, honestly, I went through intense withdrawal. The symptoms from the NRT withdrawal was awful. Even though I tried to gently ease myself off, it just didn't work out for me. I don't know if that's because there was no replacement this time in helping me stop. You know, that could be a possibility. But anyway, I had to get off that NRT. It was going to be tough, but I knew I had to quit taking it. So, I mean, you know, coming off of it for about 3 days, I battled intense withdrawal symptoms. This was nothing like stopping smoking, honestly, personally. You know, I'd never experienced any feelings like this before. Included sweating, mild shakes. You know, my bones were aching and it was so bad. I actually cried. You know, it hurt so deeply. And I was feeling sick, you know, nauseous, and basically, you know, my body feeling like it, not knowing what it could do with itself. I literally had to crawl down my hall as I couldn't stand up for feeling so dizzy. You know, I've had a lot wrong with me over the years. I still have, you know, and I've had the flu, and this was no flu. I'm sure it all sounds a bit dramatic, but it really was that bad. I've never been a drug user, but dare I say that what it could have felt like if a drug user decides to be strong enough to go cold turkey. I mean, it was hell. It was horrific. It really was that bad. I did it. So, okay, now we've got some points to consider. 1, make a plan of action. Make a plan of action that's right for you and think positive. Not just about stopping smoking, but most importantly you're the most important thing in all of it. 2, establish when do you smoke? Or when do you smoke the most? What routine do you have? And consider changing it, you know, after a cup of coffee, something to eat, and have a quick fag. Maybe you like to smoke after eating. Or when you get up in the morning, last thing at night, on the toilet, being silly. But really think about it. 3, so important, have realistic goals. Please have realistic goals. And don't be too hard on yourself. Just don't be hard on yourself if you have the cravings to smoke. Or you even have a quick puff. I mean, you know, I know that's not the goal or what you want, but, you know, tell yourself you won't do it again. You know, the cravings can go quite quickly, so please hang on in there. You can do it. You know, I eventually did. I managed to do it, so you can too, okay? You know, see if you know someone, or someone, you know, what am I trying to say? You know, see if you know someone that wants to give up smoking, but don't be annoyed if they succeed and you don't. And above all else, I would say the most important success is yours. You're the most important person in all of this. Okay, 5. this is a popular one, but I thought I'd add it. Consider the health risks. Smoking causes a huge amount of health problems to you and those around you. We all know that. Straight to number 6. Not glossing over it, but we know. Be careful of what you use or do in stopping smoking, as you don't want to lose one addiction but then develop another. Because, hey, coming off that NRT, I just wish I'd known a bit more about it back then, because I would have perhaps approached it in a different way. So whatever you use, do. I would see if you can get support from day one till when you know you're definitely stopped smoking. I wish I'd had that opportunity. Finally, I'd just like to lightly touch upon a sentence I said in my previous video, just in case you haven't seen it. There might always be a bit of vulnerability once you stop smoking or using any NRT. Please remember that nicotine, it's so highly addictive. It really is. There might be times you'll want to smoke so badly that your body will feel like it's crying out for nicotine. Be strong, okay? You're the boss, not nicotine. Even if you tried several times to give up smoking, don't matter how many times you've tried, for every cigarette you don't smoke, do you know that is such a great achievement? You know, really be proud of that. If you've just managed to go 4 hours without a fag, well that's great, isn't it? That's brilliant. Please also consider that you've not failed yourself if you can't quit that first time. Or even for that matter, that you haven't failed anyone else. You haven't failed. You haven't failed. Okay, times in my life I've been told, oh, you failed at that. No, you haven't. You haven't failed at anything, okay? Think of it as maybe you were just testing the water. You know, next time you're going to succeed, or the next time, or the next time. You've never failed. So, you know, look, there you have it. It all seems and sounds easy, doesn't it? And we all know it's not. But one day you look back and do you know what? You can ask yourself, like I did, why did I ever smoke? So I hope this helps you. And, you know, if you want to message me, you know, in the comments, if there's anything I can suggest. I'm no professional, but I can speak from personal experience, you know, and that's what, you know, part 1 and part 2 of, you know, my smoking story, stopping smoking, everything about it. It's been very honest, and I hope you've appreciated, you know, my little story of not trying to make it all sound, well, I did this and I did that, and oh, isn't it great? No, it wasn't all great. Some of it was damn hard. But, as I say, put a message in the comments if I can help you. I'll try and answer. If not, perhaps I can direct you to someone that can. I don't know, as I say, I'm no professional, but I might be able to give you a little bit of friendly support maybe. So yeah, that's everything. Thanks for watching. Good luck in giving up smoking. You can do it, alright? You're stronger than you think. Okay, take care now. Bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.